So in three-dimensional reality, we create from lack or separation. The probability that we're seeing the truth of reality is zero.
Wait, what does that mean? Say that again, and what does that mean?
We are looking at a small frequency of light. The spectrum of visible light, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, that rainbow of light, that's a small spectrum in a huge electromagnetic field, right? All those different frequencies. We got this small little bandwidth in this huge number of frequencies there are in the universe. That small band of frequency, the light that's coming from the sun, the light that's coming from these lights, that light is bouncing off the most stable form of energy. Matter is the most stable form of energy, and it's fooling us into the illusion of separation. So in the three-dimensional reality, right, I'm conscious, but what I'm conscious also is of me. And everything else that exists in three-dimensional reality, I'm conscious that I'm separate of. Everything that I'm perceiving with my senses in three-dimensional reality is fooling me into the illusion of separation. So in three-dimensional reality, our senses plug us into that reality. Take away your sight, take away your hearing, take away your smell, take away your taste, take away your feeling with your body. You would have no experience of three-dimensional reality, but yet it could still exist, but you're unaware of it. So then here I am, local in space and time, and everything is height and depth and width, and I'm into this illusion of separation. And in this realm of three-dimensional reality, there's an infinite amount of space. Space is eternal. In fact, it's accelerating, right? So the way we experience everything in three-dimensional reality is we do things. So if I want to go from here to my car to get something, I have the thought, I'm Joe Dispenza, I'm local in space and time, I'm separate from everyone and everything, I'm aware. And my awareness goes to my car. So now I have another point of awareness, another point of consciousness. I have a thought, and I want to have an experience. And the only way I'm going to have to get up and move my body through space from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness, from the cause to the effect, from the thought to the experience. And as I move through space, that's called time. So time is the separation between 2 points of consciousness. So everything that we create in this three-dimensional reality takes time, and it takes energy. So then there's you have a dream, you're aware that you're here, I'm local in space and time in this moment, and I want to have this dream of going on a vacation or making millions of dollars or getting a perfect partner, whatever that is, and your brain naturally puts that vision of your future, and it estimates 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road. Why? Because you got to save money, you got to sacrifice, you got to work extra hours. If you're matter trying to change matter, and you want this experience in three-dimensional reality, it's going to take a lot of time and energy because your brain's going to say, I know you. It's going to take a lot of doing back and forth until you finally have the experience. And when you have the experience, the emotion that's created from the experience takes away the lack or separation from not having it. So in three-dimensional reality, we create from lack or separation. You see someone with a sports car, you see someone with a wardrobe, and you look at it and your brain automatically goes, I want that because I don't have it. So we create in three-dimensional reality based on lack. We force outcomes, we control outcomes, we try to predict outcomes, we compete for outcomes, because there's only a certain number of resources that we can do in three-dimensional reality to get what we want. You can get really good at it after a while. You can get trained, you can get educated, you can learn from your mistakes, and sooner or later you'll be able to accumulate a lot of things that take away a lot of lack for a lot of people. But the question is then, does it make them happy? So then our belief that we are creators in our life has to be changed, right? And the only way you can change that belief is through experience, because experience is the best professor. So you said, well, it's probably really hard to do that because we call that getting beyond yourself. Well, think about it. If you're living by the addiction of the hormones of stress and all of your attention is on your body, your environment, and time, and to change is to be greater than your body, to be greater than your environment, and to be greater than time, then when you're addicted to the hormones of stress or you're living in stress, it's really hard to change. say, I can't do this, it's too hard, instead of you getting up and quitting and saying, I can't meditate, or this is not for me, that if you actually sit and you go past that thought, you're stepping into the unknown. If you catch yourself wandering to your cell phone or to your social media page or what your pet is doing or your spouse is doing, catch yourself, and you catch yourself doing that, going unconscious, and return back to the present moment, you'll get really good at catching yourself from going unconscious, and you'll start getting really conscious. And that you're bringing your attention back into the present moment, and that laboring for the present moment is the unknown. And so you teach a person how to do that, and sooner or later they get good at it. So if you're not trying to predict the future anymore and you've mastered the moment, right? And so people were thinking that they were doing their meditations wrong when their mind wandered, but they're actually doing it right, because that's the process of being able to stay conscious and not go unconscious.
Come back to
right.
it. Yeah.
We also discovered if I push a person past the point where they normally stop, where they say I'm done, that's their comfort.
Yeah.
If I take them past that point, that's when the brain changes the most. That's when they have their biggest change. When they get to the point where they're uncomfortable, and instead of giving up and saying this is too uncomfortable, I can't meditate, if I give them something to do while they're doing that, and they can reorganize that dissonance and create coherence in their brain and heart, that free energy that's been created by keep lowering the volume to the emotion and taking the attention off the person. The body wants to get up and do something and go, and you watch it wanting to be programmed to get up, and you bring it back to the present moment. The body realizes it's no longer the mind, it surrenders.
Yes.
When that occurs, there's a huge liberation of energy, and energy naturally moves right into the heart. The body can relax into the unknown. The familiar past, when people are living by the same emotions every day, because they're recalling a memory from their past and they feel the emotion associated with it, they're in the familiar past. If they're predicting the future and thinking about all the people they have to see and the places they have to go and the things they have to do at the exact same time, that predictable future is the known, the familiar past is the known, the only place where the unknown exists is the present moment. So if the unknown is a scary place because it's been built into our biology, and you got to go against thousands of years of conditioning and work with your body, I'm telling you, there's a moment where the body finally surrenders. Energy moves to the heart. Once it goes to the heart like a springboard, it's released right to the brain, the heart and the brain. The heart tells the brain to create the 4 brain switches on, and now the person starts thinking, there's got to be another way, there's a new way, right? And it resets the baseline emotionally in the body to tell the body the event is over. Now in theta, the neocortex, which plugs you into 3-dimensional reality through your senses, the autobiographical self, the reflection of everything known in your environment, the repository of everything you've learned and experienced in your life, that brain goes into theta, lights are out in the personality. And you're not aware of your body, your environment, and time. And in theta, the brain waves are so slow that energy moves out of the thinking brain that drops right into the limbic brain, the seat of the autonomic nervous system. Now, when you're in theta, you're in a hypnotic state. And when you're in a hypnotic state, you're suggestible to information. And suggestibility is your ability to accept the information, believe in the information, surrender to the information without analyzing whether it's the truth or not. And that's exactly what programs